Hi, we're gonna wait for a few more people and then we'll start the class. If you have any questions about last week's class, you can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Hi, Carol.
Hi. Hi.
We're gonna start in a few minutes when more people have joined, so Hello everyone who just came. We're gonna wait a few more minutes and then we'll wait for more people to come and we'll start today's lesson. Okay, we're gonna start class right now. So before we begin, I got a new email. So you guys might know my old email, which is anyazang5@gmail.com. But now I have anyazang@myri-ed.org. So if you want to email me, you can do it through either, but this one is strictly for Myri-Ed, so I'll probably answer your emails better from this one. So for today, we'll learn about the House and Senate, and then we'll continue to incumbent advantages, and then we'll learn about committees and the lawmaking process. So first, let's go over some keywords. So incumbents are the people in office, so in Senate or the House. And the constituents are the people being represented. So each House or Senate member represents a certain population of people, so their voices can be heard in government. And reapportionment is when the House seats are distributed among the states. So there's 435 House seats, and every 10 years they split it in case any population changes. They split it between the states again. Um, last time they had, oh yeah, every 10 years it's called a census, and they resplit it, redistribute. And last time they gave 53 seats to California because, as you know, it's a really big population. And a smaller state like Maryland, well, it's not that small, but it has 8 seats as compared to California's 53. And then there's redistricting, which happens every 10 years, which is a census. So it's when the state draws district lines. So after reapportionment, they get a specific amount of seats. So the number of seats is the amount of districts in a state. So like I said before, Maryland has 8 seats in the House. So there's 8 districts in Maryland, and they draw the lines to separate each district. So that's redistricting. So let's talk about the House. So as I gone over earlier, it has 433 members. The amount of members for each state is based on the population. Each House member represents their assigned district. So So let's take California's 53. Each of those 53 are assigned to a district in California and they represent those people. They have 2-year terms. So every 2 years, the House members are reelected. And they can start revenue bills. So that only starts in the House. And they can also start impeachment. If you guys know, around in January, I think, the House tried to impeach Donald Trump, but it didn't go through because the Senate here, they convict the impeachment, so they didn't allow it to go through. And the Senate has 100 members, and it's 2 for each state. They have equal members for each state, so 2. Um, Senate members represent their entire state population as opposed to just the district. They have 6-year terms. So it's not every 6 years everyone gets reelected. It's every 2 years, 1/3 of the Senate gets reelected. So it's like split up. Um, they approve treaties that the president can make and federal judge appointees that the president might want to appoint. And they convict impeachment, like I said earlier. So there's different types of representation models. So there's the delegate model here, where the incumbents regularly ask constituents their opinions, and then they go vote on the bills based on their constituents' opinions. And we have the trustee, which is just they don't really go to their constituents. They use their best judgment. And then we have political, which is like a mix of delegate and trustee. So they use their best judgment to decide when to ask their constituents on constituents' opinions and when to use their own. So typically people use Politico because sometimes people like regular citizens aren't that educated and don't know some more grave topics, so they use their own judgment. But other times when the bill like directly impacts the citizens, they ask their citizens' opinions. So we go to congressional powers. These are 2 clauses in the Constitution that make the Congress so powerful. So first we have the necessary and proper clause. It's found in Article 1 of the Constitution, and it basically allows Congress to do all things necessary and proper. So they can make laws concerning airport security, even though that's not stated at all in the Constitution. And then we have Commerce Clause. This allows Congress to regulate interstate trade. And although although itself is like not that important, like the way it can be applied can give Congress a lot of powers. So for example, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was based off the Commerce Clause because they found I think it was like they found segregation or something, oh, to impact like the economy and interstate commerce basically. So that's a really implied way of thinking of it, but it just did give Congress a lot of power. So now we go to incumbency advantages. So these are the advantages that people in office, House or Senate, they both have. So first we have the franking privilege, which allows incumbents to send mail to their constituents for free. So they can keep in touch with who they're representing without having to pay anything. They get experience. So if they want to run for president, they have the necessary experience. Name recognition. So again, if they wanted to run for president, their name would be easily recognized and more people would vote for them because they're familiar. They have more access to the media, so they can use the media to their advantage. Money, pretty basic, straightforward. They have more money to fund a campaign. Also earmarks. So earmarks are when legislation is passed that only benefits their constituents, and it makes the incumbent look very, very good, and will likely get revoted because the constituents like them so much. Um, Next, we'll move on to committees. So a committee is a group of people in either the House or Senate that perform a function or service. So that's really vague, but I'll go into specific types. So first is the standing committee. It's a permanent committee that considers bills and legislative proposals. And it maintains oversight over the executive branch and the president, and conducts investigations. So oversight, we're not gonna go too deep into it, but it's a check and balance. It's an example of a check and balance, um, which basically is where the three branches, they always check each other to make sure none of them are abusing power. Um, the next is the Ways and Means Committee, a standing committee. So it's a type of standing committee that introduces bills that concern taxes. So there's standing committees for like almost like everything, every type of bill, but I just put Ways and Means because it might not be that straightforward. You think it's taxes? I don't know. Um, then we have a joint committee, which is a committee with both members of the House and Senate. So normally standing committees are strictly in the House or in the Senate, but a joint one has both. A conference committee is a type of joint committee that reconciles the differences between the House and Senate version of a bill. So we'll see the conference committee in action later when we learn about the lawmaking process. And then a select committee is just a temporary committee that was banned for whatever reason. So let's see how an idea becomes a law. Um, First, it starts with an idea. It's written into a bill, and then it's introduced to the House or the Senate. It depends. But for this example, we'll start from the House, but it can start from either. It just be opposite. Then it goes to a House committee in this case, where they do a testimony, markup, and vote. And vote is bolded here because the bill can just die, so it would never become a law. So if most of the committee members decide that it's a bad bill, it would just die and never become a law. And then we have the Rules Committee, which sets the debate and for open or closed vote. This is strictly in the House. So if it started in the Senate, there wouldn't be a Rules Committee. So it sets the time for the debate and whether the vote is opened or closed. So open means you can put amendments on the bill, and closed means you cannot. And then it goes to a full House vote, which is bold because it can die. It can die there. So if less than half support the bill, then the bill would just go away. And then after full House, if it passes, it goes to the Senate committee where they do testimony, markup, and vote. And if they decide it's not good, it'll die. And then it goes to a full Senate vote where it could die as well. And then it goes to a conference committee. So like we said before, a conference committee basically works out the differences. So if the bill passes to the Senate and then the Senate, they like make amendments to the bill, then they'd settle the differences in the conference committee. And then they go back to both branches to vote again, where it can die again. And then it goes to the president, where the president can veto it, so it die. And if they veto it, go back to both branches. And if both branches pass the bill with a vote of 2/3, they can override the veto. And then it becomes law. So it's a really complicated legislation process. So because they don't want any like bills that people don't support and are not good. It's a really complex like refinement process. And now we'll go to congressional checks. We have congressional checks. So these are checks and balances, like I said before. So we have executive, Congress over executive, so they can impeach the president if the president isn't doing their job correctly. They can override a veto, like I said before, if they think the president has made like a mistake in vetoing the bill. And they have oversight. So they watch over the executive branch and they can oversight is kind of vague, but they can like interview people and like do investigations if there's any like suspect. And Congress over judicial, they can approve federal judge nominees. So if the president selects a federal judge that isn't that qualified, the Senate can be like, no, you can't do that. And then the person would never become a federal judge. And they can impeach judges if they're not doing their job correctly. So that's all, but I see some people came later, so in the chat, if you need to go back to any slides, I'd be happy to. Also, if there's any questions. Um, there's no homework, unless you want there to be homework. Thank you. How was the AP exam? It was, well, mine was online, so I guess it'd be kind of easier, but if you're taking it in person, I don't have experience with it, but I think Allison is here and she has experience with taking it in person, so if she wants to speak, I'll unmute her. Or she can type in the chat. Yeah. Oh, I made the slides with a website called Slideshow Go. They have really cool formats, so I'll go back to this one. So mine here, if it was introduced to the Senate first, it'd then be the opposite. So it'd go through Senate vote and then go back to the House. But just in this example, we have it starting from the House. Okay, she says it's pretty easy, but I had to study a lot. So if you want to, you have to engrave it in your brain, basically. Thank you, thank you. No problem. Okay, great. Do you need to go to any other slides? Anyone who came later, I can go back to the beginning. Here's the first one. Um, here's the sixth slide. Yep. I personally do not support Trump, but I don't really want to bring any politics. Although if this class is based on it, I don't want to bring that much into here. If there's any other slides you need to see again, please feel free. Oh. Yeah, you can email me, anyazang at myriad.org if you have any private questions. So if no one has any other questions, I'll end the class for today. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you next week. These slides will be posted on Google Classroom. And also, yeah, no problem. Also, what's it called? This recording will also be posted. So if you missed anything, you can go back. If you're late, you can watch the beginning again. But thank you everyone for coming. Bye.